Hey guys, my name's Tris and you're watching another Tristake. In this week's episode we will be discussing Brexit and the implications that may have for musicians wanting to play in the UK from the European Union and vice versa. So for anybody who doesn't know what Brexit is, because I'm aware that YouTube is a global platform, in a nutshell, Brexit is the United Kingdom's departure from the European Union. So the UK will no longer be a member state of the EU. This means that the United Kingdom and the EU now have to negotiate a trade deal. The United Kingdom left on the 31st of January. There is now a transition period where the UK government and the rest of the European Union have to work out a trade deal between themselves. Come 2021, things might look very different. I don't want this video to become a Brexit debate. That's not what this video is about. This video isn't a stab at Brexiteers, and it's not a Ramona video either. What I really want this video to be is simply information for anybody who's interested. So just to recap, that over the last few decades, bands from the EU have been able to tour and play in the United Kingdom without any restrictions whatsoever, and same goes for bands from the United Kingdom who want to play in Europe. Dethonator have played in Europe several times. We've done a few stints over to the continent, playing in Belgium, Holland, Germany. And this obviously involves getting in a vehicle, getting on a ferry, driving across to the country you want to play in, playing, coming back. And the only thing you might have to do in that time period is essentially show your passport. So I thought what we'd do is go on a bit of a fact-finding mission. So all I've seen online are numerous headlines stating that this will be devastating for the music industry in Europe and the United Kingdom alike. Music industry officials saying that this is all a very bad idea. These are some of the headlines that we've been seeing. EU and UK touring musicians face devastating consequences of proposed post-Brexit immigration plans. Okay, so what does this actually mean? The proposed new law says that creative workers must apply for a temporary Tier 5 visa from 2021. I don't know what a Tier 5 visa is, or at least I didn't. I'm not professing to be an expert. I know as much as, if not probably less than most of you out there. Okay, so various people very upset about this. Classic FM are shitting their balls. 2021, it's impossible to say how things are going to look because the trade deal isn't done yet. But if the UK is already announcing these restrictions on EU member states, then the chances are that the EU member states are probably going to impose similar restrictions on British touring artists wanting to play in their countries. So this is what the government's website states about the Tier 5 temporary creative and sporting visa. Sports personal creative worker. I mean, there's someone who works in the creative industry, for example, an actor, dancer, musician, or film crew member. I mean, already you've got questions, haven't you? Because it's like, you say you're going on tour, you've got some roadies with you, potentially a driver for the bus. Do they need same visa, or do they need a different visa? There's so many questions that we don't yet really have the answers to. So the earliest you can apply for a visa before the date you're due to work is 3 months beforehand. So already, let's imagine a scenario where I'm in a band from Germany and I want to play in the UK. Promoter offers us a gig, and he says, next month, you guys want to come over and play our show? Well, already it's a no-go, isn't it? Because you're going to have to apply for your visa, and you should be applying, months in advance to ensure that you get your visa. And it's saying it'll take a minimum of 3 weeks to get a decision. But even once you've had the decision, I imagine then surely it takes a while to get all sorted out. I don't know. I've never applied for a visa before, so it's not something that I know about. You can also pay for a faster decision. So let's look at how much this is realistically going to cost as things stand. If you're in a metal band in the EU and you want to come over and play in the United Kingdom, how much is that going to cost you? Based on the information on the gov.uk website. So let's have a look. So if you're applying for yourself, it's £244. You can pay an extra £800 for the super priority service to get a decision. you're trying to get a visa and you're in a band of 4 and it's going to cost you £244 per individual, you're already looking at about £1,000 to try and come and play a gig. But have I got that wrong? Non-UK musicians will need a visa to perform in the country from 2021. Artists must also prove they have nearly 1,000 in savings before applying. I mean, who's got... How many bands out there do you know have got £1,000 in savings? This is NME, by the way. In a post-Brexit shake-up of the current rules, EU and non-EU based creators who wish to prove they have nearly 1,000 in savings in their account some 90 days before applying for the visa. Artists will need a Tier 5 visa to visit the UK for work, encompassing performances, auditions, workshop, festival appearances, blah blah blah. It is expected to cost £244, will come into force in January 21. Right, so it just seems like a really unnecessary tax on just creative people wanting to come and play some music. All right, well that's that's something else I didn't know as well. So not only have you got all the paperwork for the visas in terms of travelling to and from, you also have to fill out carnets. Carnets? It's an international customs and temporary export-import document. The movement of all instruments and equipment, paying tax on the import and export of merchandise. So I am a paying member of the Musicians Union. So naturally, I went on the MU website when all this was first going on. It's pretty much impossible to get any clear-cut guidance because the negotiations are still happening. So no one really knows how 2021 is going to look. But obviously, the Musicians Union are quite concerned about all of this. And you may have seen a petition going around. So yeah, there's essentially been a petition to allow musicians to continue to move and work freely across the EU member states and the UK. They're talking about a musician's passport that essentially just will allow you to continue to work, and it will also include not just the musicians themselves, but the roadies, technical staff, and other people who are involved. Given the government's announcement yesterday, it doesn't look like they've really been listening to any music industry officials about the potential damage that this could do. I would still recommend signing the petition. I'll put the link down below in the description, so remember to check that out. The other thing that I was concerned about, naturally, was stuff like getting your vehicle across the channel and in and out of the EU member states, and also just selling merchandise, selling T-shirts and CDs and stuff. So again, this is just from NME, but apparently it won't be possible to buy goods or sell goods to the EU without this EORI number. I don't know how far bands are going to take this, you know, at an underground level. Are bands going to necessarily go to all this effort to play across the channel and vice versa? Or are bands just going to go over, book gigs as before and just not declare it? I mean, I just don't know. So we've got friends in Europe, we've met bands on the road, we've toured with bands in Europe that we're good friends with, and we'd have perhaps never met if these restrictions had been in place before. So, you know, and that would have been incredibly sad. So looking ahead to the future, I wanted to try and understand how things might look for Dethonator and any other UK bands wanting to go across the channel and play. But I did a little trial, so I tried to find out how things would look. So let's pick Germany. See the latest information on business travel, Federal Foreign Office, visas, including, okay, so that sounds like where we need to go. Federal Foreign Office, visa regulation. So non-EU nationals. Generally speaking, all other foreigners require a visa. Stays in Germany. A visa is not required for visits of up to 90 days in an 180-day period for nationals of those countries for which European Community has abolished a visa requirement. There we are, United Kingdom, Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So as it stands, you don't need a visa if you're going to be there less than 90 days. But is that going to change in 2021? So just out of interest, in terms of fees for getting into Germany, you'd have to pay €80 for the visa application. Still though, you know, if you're looking at €80 per person, say there's like 5 people in your band, still looking at a few £100, aren't you, before you've even got in your van and gone over there. Then you've got your you know, to make sure your van's compliant with any regulations that might come in, and whether you need a special green card or special permit to be over there. And then you also need to consider declaring all your goods. That's going to probably take longer, crossing borders, going through airports, and all the rest of it. So I don't, like I say, I don't profess to know or understand any of it really. All you can go on is what you see and what you hear. And at the minute, all I'm seeing is negative. People are heartbroken, really. You know, if Dethonator were a French band wanting to come play in the UK, and it's going to be, if it is genuinely going to be 240 odd quid per head just for the visa application, and you've got to prove you've got a grand's worth of savings, you're going to bother. So then you're going to get less bands performing, and in the long run, less bands travelling, less bands performing, sharing music, sharing culture. So there's a cultural implication there. I mean, it's always been my dream to go over to Wacken Festival in Germany and play there. But feasibly, unless you've got the money, the capital to take the hit, it could actually stop you from doing that. From an artist perspective, things couldn't have been more convenient. Seems like a backward step, really, to then impose restrictions on people wanting to perform in other countries. You know, say your band gets really big in the UK. It's a big world out there. It's a global market, global world, and if you're restricted as to where you can then play and promote your music, surely that's only going to have a negative impact on your business, on your brand, on you as a band. And I've also read various comments, and I've had various people say to me, don't American bands have to get a visa to perform in the United Kingdom? So, you know, that doesn't stop them. So why does it really matter? Personally, I don't really see the relevance of that point. It will make things much more expensive. There's a reason that, hands up, I've never been to America. That's simply because I can't afford to go to America. So why I would be able to afford to go there with my band, I mean, that's even less likely, really. So yes, American bands have to get a visa and pay to come across to the United Kingdom to perform. And yes, United Kingdom bands have always had to go and pay to play in America. But that's not necessarily a good thing. And the beauty of having free movement was that we could hop across to our neighbours and play some music, and it wouldn't cost us anything but the petrol. But the thing you have to remember is that the United Kingdom and the USA are very far apart. Well, it's a totally different continent. It's half the world away. And if you want to get your music out there, and if you want to tour in somewhere that isn't the United Kingdom, then you've got a whole wealth of countries on your doorstep where you could do that very easily. So if it's now going to cost an arm and a leg to go and perform in, say, Germany, then that's potentially damaging. Like I say, it's not meant to be a pop at Brexit or anything else that goes with that. This is purely from a musician's viewpoint with regards to trying to understand the facts of the situation. You know, is it going to be as bad as all that, really? Is it all just scaremongering and moaning? But when you've got it in black and white that EU bands are going to have to pay for visas to come and work in, you know, play gigs in the UK, then potentially other taxes and export costs, etc., for all their equipment, you know, are they really going to bother? At the highest level, it's not going to affect things. You know, you've got various artists like come out in the press and saying, oh, you know, it's not going to affect things, and back in the 60s, you know, it didn't matter, it didn't affect us then, but you know, things have changed a lot, and plus a lot of those artists and bands have already made their millions. You know, they're already in a position where they don't have to worry. If you're in a normal band, you know, hand to mouth, no, you know, very few bands surely have got the capital to make that work. So I hope you enjoyed the discussion, guys. Like I say, I'm no expert, but feel free to leave me some comments down below. You understand the situation or have a view, and we're all on this journey together. So whatever happens, we're all in the same boat. And as long as we can all continue to make music and keep playing heavy metal, there's something to be said for that. So please subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment. because otherwise I'm literally just talking to myself. Keep on rocking. Brexit. 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 Brexit.